Hello, everybody. Liam Murphy back for another best ball stream. Got my standing desk in stand mode currently, so I'm be doing this draft standing. Get my fat ass some fitness. Of course, when I was a teacher, I used to stand all day. Haven't been doing that as of late. Hello. Gonna be drafting today on Drafters. If you're not up and running on Drafters, you can use promo code ChessLiam. Drafters is a total points website, meaning whoever scores the most points weeks 1 through 17 wins the contest. There are no playoff weeks. And if you missed it, I wrote a free article breaking down the top 10 teams the past 2 years over on Drafters. You can check that out at my best ball site, beatbestball.com. And looks like we need 3 more for this draft to kick off. I also have an article that I'm going to drop later today. Just need to edit it. Again, over at beatbestball.com. This time only for premium subscribers, which it's only $99 a year. And when you sign up with my site, you get a free drafters ticket. I wanted to just mention, for the people who sign up for beatbestball.com and get the free drafters ticket, I send those emails out once a week. So if you recently signed up, it's not going to be instantly deposited into your account. I need to send them the emails. They will give you the free ticket. I did not win on Drafters, but in this article that I linked, you can see the top 10 teams the past 2 years that I put in here for you. I did help my friend Tolan. Tolan watched my streams, and he got 5th last year. A bunch of other people who regularly watch my streams placed high. I know Updog, a steady watcher of me, got 2nd last year. Looks like we pulled the 110. Appreciate you all being here. I am on the road to 5K. So if you can do your part there, click the like button, click the subscribe button. That'll help me out. Closing in on that. We'll do something fun at 5K. Unless I'm over in Ireland, which I'm leaving this upcoming weekend for 2 weeks. I'll still be streaming over there, though, and writing. You can also find the link to my Discord to join below, which is totally free to join. And I always notify my Discord when I'm going live, along with my Twitter at ChessLiam. The article that I got coming out later today is on rarely drafted upside pieces, which could be zeros, but offer upside. How many best ball drafts will you do in total? Well, I'll max drafters, underdog, and the DK millies. So that's 450. Call it 600-ish. I don't max the puppies, things like that. But, who knows? If I really felt like it, could I max a puppy? Yes, I could. I'm a fast draft guy. So if I really wanted to, could I enter a bunch of slow drafts to get even more volume down? Yes, I could do that. But I don't think it's likely. I didn't know there's a max. There's a 150 max for almost any contest in fantasy football, DFS, best ball, etc. It's just an arbitrary number chosen by lawmakers years ago. So that's where we're at. Used to be able to fire, I think, unlimited entrants into something like the DK Millie. Which then poses the interesting question of what's the optimal amount of teams to enter, But we don't have to worry about that. It's a 150 max. I tweeted out today, just sharing my article, that despite the year CMC had, he was not on any of the top 10 teams last year. 0. Which, begs the question, can you win a total points contest if you select a running back around 1 I think I would say, of course, right? I detail this in the article, but something CeeDee Lamb had going for him that a guy like CMC did not have is the partners that he was commonly paired with at the 2-3 turn were much better picks on average than the guys going at the 2-3 turn. Now, we don't have to be victim of that. As I've written about, we can make our own unique combinations, right? Show the Chig tweet. I think we already went over the Chig tweet. How much match does your code on Drafters give? I believe it's a $100 deposit match. And if you're up and running with my site, you'd get a free ticket. And Drafters offers its own free tickets occasionally too. You always overreach for stacks. Yeah, I mean, overreaching for a stack is certainly going to give you a unique combo by default. But I prefer to build my stacks usually by risking the quarterback and hoping to get them below ADP when it doesn't make sense for another team to have them. An example would be you have both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Really doesn't make sense for many people to select Joe Burrow there, so you can push it. Another bonus of Drafters, of course, is that it has overlaid the past couple of years. Overlay, we're going to go Puka Nacua here. Overlay is when a contest does not fill, meaning for something like Drafters, you're simply competing against less people for the same guaranteed prize pool. The prize pool does not go up or down based on entrance. They have to guarantee the prize pool at time of contest. I've always wondered if the 1 and 12 spot are kind of cursed because you lose possible information on what positions you can push. Good comment, Fries. Yeah, I mean, I think undoubtedly, if you're in a room with bad drafters, it can be argued that the middle picks are better picks to have because you're more likely to be able to take players who fall significantly past their ADP if you think they're good picks, right? Where if you're at the turns, you're at the mercy of the room. Something else you don't get to do at the turns is at the 110. Yeah, I think Gibbs is a fine guy to select here as an anchor running back. After Drake London, after Nico, Detroit plays 12 games in the Dome this year. Detroit's an elite offense. They have the best O-line in the league. Likely going to have more of a goal line role. So even in this wide receiver climate, Gibbs round 2, see no reason not to take him. But yeah, when I'm the 110, I can look at what the people inside of me have done and maybe adjust who I'm going to select first and versus who I'm going to select second. An example would be, again, just pretend I had Chase and T. Higgins. I noticed these two dudes have Josh Allen and Lamar on their teams. I don't think they're likely to take another quarterback. It doesn't make sense for them. I can take Joe Burrow second rather than first. But, I always like the turn picks, especially for evening drafts. Maybe you're watching a movie, maybe you're multitasking, whatever, because it's kind of nice just to kind of sit there, make your picks, not worry about it again until you're on the clock. That involves picking wide receiver. In general, if your plan is to build a lot of teams by nailing late round wide receivers, I think you have a bad strategy. Wide receiver is a talent-based position. Wide receivers score more than ever before in history. Wide receivers are often viewed as the engines of their offenses versus running backs who are often in committees. And you can get starting running backs in the middle to late rounds. You can get Zach Moss late. You can get Mostert late. You can get Pollard late. You can get Singletary late. You can get Ford. You can get Chase Brown. You can get Corum. You can get Ezekiel Elliott, right? You can get a lot of maybe starters late. And you cannot get the same quality of wide receivers late. So I really encourage you to readjust your strategy if you're building a lot of like RB teams, hoping to nail a very thin parlay of nailing who are the guys you need in these ranges of the draft. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, maybe possible a few years ago, but not now. Fries brings up a good point where some people do not adjust enough to the current market landscape. I think that's a edge of mine where I'm really in tune with what the market is doing and where the market is not being logical. Where, this is going to come out in the article I'm dropping, but there are guys who the real NFL draft selected higher than other guys at the running back position, and we always draft certain running backs, but we don't draft some running backs who went to better teams and were drafted higher because I don't know why, but the market's doing that. The market is illogical all over the place. I do think the market's gotten better over time, but yeah, the market's still very beatable, in my opinion. Appreciate you all being here. We are on the road to 5K. Is it likely that an entire draft will be thrown out if a team takes multiple people like 30 to 50 plus ahead of ADP? I think it really depends, William. It depends on the site. Like DraftKings is pretty tight-lipped about what so need to go wide receiver here. I like Zay Flowers. Some people are not as into Zay Flowers, but I think he possesses huge single week upside. I think Mark Andrews is a question with his health. Hopefully the Ravens are a little bit worse as a team overall, forcing them to pass more. So a great wide receiver to add when we go running back in the second round. DraftKings pretty tight-lipped about what collusion protection they do at all. Underdog unquestionably will throw away suspect drafts. I don't know about drafters. I assume they throw away suspect drafts too. And it really depends, right? Like, okay, if I'm one of those guys who like am so worried about it that I like star Matt Stafford so I don't forget because I took Puka Nacua and then I auto draft him in round 4, that's not enough to get a draft thrown out. That is a world's difference than Terry McLaurin's ADP is pretty effing insane on drafters. Honestly, like all these wide receivers are. So yeah, I'm gonna go T. Higgins this time. It's just clearly a room where I'm gonna get buried at wide receiver if I pass for a tight end or quarterback, and I'm not willing to do that. You need to start 3 wide receivers a week. T. Higgins possesses a big single week upside. Had a pretty disappointing year last year. I personally don't think he is as good as the hype, but I want pieces of the Bengals. So yeah, like auto drafting Matt Stafford by accident is a world's difference than taking Ty Johnson in the first round. So I can't. If someone is drafting crazy, it is likely that a draft will be thrown out, and that's a good thing for us. Do you want who wins these contests to be determined by whether someone is debatably actively cheating? Of course not, right? Do you want these contests to be determined by someone being such a bad drafter that they're taking Tom Brady and Antonio Brown in the first and second round so you get unique falling ADPs? Of course not. That takes away all the skill in the game, right? So we want these sites to do these collusion concerns. I understand it's annoying when you draft a team, but you got to deal with it. We've let the facial hair get pretty scruffy here, but we will be shaving before we go to Ireland. Also going to my good friend's wedding, who, when I won Best Ball Mania 2, I was at a bachelor party. He was part of that wedding with me. So now he's getting married. So going to be going to his wedding after Ireland. So going to be jam-packed. Yeah, so the drafters market, I've kind of seen this somewhat. You can see this is my 74th draft here. Again, you can use promo code Chessliam to get up and running there for a $100 deposit match. But occasionally you'll get these wide receiver crazy rooms where, like, I like Terry McLaurin, but I don't like him as a 3-4 turn guy. He just doesn't seem to offer quite that ceiling, in my opinion. I like Kirk too. I have Kirk ranked as a round 4 pick. He goes round 3 here. And what's that doing? It's obviously pushing down the tight ends. It's pushing down the elite quarterbacks. But then it normalizes. I resemble Rory McIlroy. Is it because we're both Irish? I'm going to do a giveaway for a free drafters ticket too. Going to be doing this most drafters streams. So I'm going to do that. I don't know. Starting in round 10. And we'll just do how I did last time where I'll ask for something. You'll have to comment in the chat. And I'm going to randomly just highlight the first name there, which changes when someone posts. So we'll do that starting maybe after round 9. And then I'll message the username to drafters and they'll deposit the ticket in your account later. You have to have please don't comment if you don't have a drafters account. I'm not doing that back and forth with you. So go set up a drafters account if you want to be eligible for the giveaway. Man, pretty dire here at wideout. Let's go Worthy. I don't quite agree with the veterans, Godwin, Ridley, Deontay, getting priced ahead of some of these guys. So I'll mix these dudes in, but they're not my favorite guys. Yes, it can be argued that Chris Godwin really shouldn't be so much cheaper than Mike Evans, but also he just doesn't seem likely to be a guy you have to take to win a total points contest. Where Worthy definitely has bust potential, but we all know the upside. Super fast guy, attached to Patrick Mahomes. I really like you announcing yourself as Easy E in the house. If everyone could start doing that like Eric, that'd really bring some energy. I'm going to make my second pick here and then get to some of these comments and questions. Let's do... There's going to be one of Watson or Rome. Let's do Watson today. Watson, an easy guy to make an upside case for. Correlates with Gibbs, plays in the same division. Fast dude, plays for the Packers. Wasn't healthy in the past. Tried to fix his muscle imbalance, which was apparently one of the reasons. Had a really high target share in the end zone. And gives me a 5th wide receiver to feel good about in an upside sense attached with the guys I already have. What are the biggest differences here versus underdog/DK? Well, one, Ferris, I would recommend you read my free article over at beatbestball.com, breaking down the top scoring teams. But the biggest difference is for something like Underdog and DraftKings, I really focus on who plays who week 17 and who I think is going to score a lot of points week 17, because that's when all the money is won. That is totally different than this. Your mindset here should be, who's going to be a league winner? Who's going to score the most points? How do I build the team that scores the most points? Which is inherently a different thing than who scores the most points week 17. So this is total points, PPR, not playoff weeks. How much match does your code give? $100 deposit match. I have the same promo code for Underdog, but I don't even really bother telling people about that because most people are up and running on Underdog. Do you have a personal preference for total points or playoff? I personally prefer the playoff contest. That's where I've won best ball tournaments. I think it can be argued that total points is a little bit less skill because it's like, okay, I took Watson, he took Rome. Honestly, I almost took Rome. I really like those guys. Pretty similar bets in my opinion, or okay, you took Josh Jacobs, I took James Cook. James Cook scores 10 touchdowns, Josh Jacobs scores 5. So I win, you lose. I don't know. It's just not quite the same thing as strategically thinking through playoff weeks, etc. But then again, I think there is strategy elements you can take in a total points contest that the field is not, such as creating unique combos are way more impactful for a total points contest because in something like Best Ball Mania 5, a unique combo is nice, but I only need to beat 500 teams. So even if I go super chalky, who cares? Where for a total points contest, if I get a unique combo, I'm now just not competing with that many people to win. And I'm competing with literally everyone. You notice I've been doing a lot of drafts here. I literally drafted on Underdog yesterday. I drafted on Underdog before. I drafted on Underdog a lot. So I don't think I've done that many drafts on Drafters, but obviously a motivation for drafting on Drafters is I recently wrote an article breaking down the top scoring teams. So might as well draft there. Getting Keon Coleman as a 6th upside swing at wide receiver feels nice. It could be argued when I'm getting values like that maybe I don't need to take Higgins in the 4th. But I quite like Coleman as an upside play. Yes, there's downside. We've talked about this a lot, but the upside case remains. Really, the market's just bored right now. So we're like, a couple of people have been like, what if Coleman doesn't hit? And Brandon Beane didn't come out and just say, like, he's going to be a smash. So the market's like, fear. Oh no, JT works for the IRS. Well, I don't know, brother. You do the math. I won $1,001 in BBM2. So quite a bit. You're an old drunk? Okay, now this makes more sense now. All's forgiven. Jokes. Clearly never going to go Montgomery here, even if he was there. This is clearly the round to take my RB2. I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift today. Another running back who's going to catch passes. I think he ran really bad in the touchdown department last year where obviously the tush push took a lot of touchdowns away for him. I've not taken any of the Bears wide receivers. I still think the Bears are going to be a good team. So I want to get a piece of the Bears. Ramondre, similar talent to Swift, maybe better, but the Patriots could be so much worse than the Bears this year, right? Even though I like them occasionally. So quite like Swift as an RB2 to mix in there. Thoughts on Jatavian Sanders? Doesn't play for a good team, likely. Not really clear if he's going to be the tight end 1 even. So you got question marks of playing time. Yeah, even if he is the tight end 1, now you're competing with Thielen, Deontay Johnson, and Xavier Legette for targets. So there's a lot of questions there that has me not really going overboard with him. Situation to monitor in camp, but not really a super high upside play to me. And he gets regularly drafted, so he's whatever. JT asking me to explain more about leverage. So something I mentioned yesterday, and there's many points where you can argue for leverage, is on the Bijan teams, it makes sense to take Braylon Allen. Where if you take Breece Hall, it makes sense to take Tyler Algier. And and you could also be argued if you take Garrett Wilson, you can take Algier or Braylon Allen, whatever. The point is, when you take Bijan, you're inherently not taking Breece Hall. So some years Breece Hall, so you're betting on Bijan. You want to bet like you're right? Bijan's the guy you need, not Breece. Now you could take that step further, and of course Breece could play. Maybe he only scores 10 points. That's one way he could fail. Another way he could fail is he gets hurt. Another way he could fail is Braylon Allen becomes the goal line back and scores 3 touchdowns, whatever. So occasionally you can directly leverage Breece and say Breece gets hurt this year. So now I have Bijan and I have Braylon Allen, which again, Breece got hurt. So basically I got Bijan and I got 85% of Breece Hall or whatever a backup running back is in a direct replacement, right? So you're really leveraging it. Something I did a lot last year is Ramondre Stevenson and Josh Jacobs are 2 players who went close in ADP. So when I would take Ramondre Stevenson, I took Zamir White a lot at the end of drafts, where I did not take Josh Jacobs, who went next to him in ADP, and I directly leveraged Josh Jacobs failing by taking his backup. 69 watching, 12 likes. Thank you, brother. Keep him honest. Yeah, you don't want to hear Ian Thomas is looking good when you're in the Jatavian Sanders train. Let's go Njoku. He's not my favorite tight end, but he's a discount compared to the rest in this draft. I think it's just kind of like bizarre his scoring with Joe Flacco, but tight end is not a position you can get no points from and win. And of course, we've seen Njoku be fantasy relevant, turn in some good games. I could possibly even stop at 2 tight ends if I land a good one. And yeah, I need to beat every team, right? So if another team is placing in 15 points a week at the tight end position, you're not going to win if you're only slotting in 5. So I'm comfortable taking Njoku plus quite often in my drafts at tight end. I keep drafting Mostert around the 100 spot. Seems too good to be true. Fantasy gods don't give all those touchdowns twice in a row. Well, a couple things happened there where Mostert, as someone who did not have a lot of Mostert until later in the draft cycle, when it was clear he was the guy, he unquestionably sun ran touchdowns where like way above expectation, where like he was just scoring on goal line carries again and again. So now he's another year older. Achane is another year, just a year 2 running back now. Usually a year where running backs take a big leap, by the way. Let's go running back here. Quarterback is nice too, but we're going to have to figure quarterback out. Ooh. I went Brian Robinson. I like him. There's another guy I like actually a little bit better that I didn't realize was lower in ADP here, but that's fine. Brian Robinson, the hope for him really is that he just roughly does what he did last year and maybe even scores more goal line touchdowns. So yeah, I mean, like, I think it is okay to kind of just chase the points from last year on Mostert. To start the year, I kind of was doing that. But, he is very old. He is, I believe, 32 now. 32, just turned it. He doesn't have quite the career carries that another running back his age has because he's been injured. So ironically, him being injured maybe makes him a better pick in the past. And yeah, like in my article on my site where I broke down all the running backs going from round 8 and below, really good article. You should read that. I wrote, like, I don't have to really make the Mostert upside case. Like, we saw it last year. But, they selected Jalen Wright, who is the biggest back So if he is now the goal line back, that's bad. I like Mostert more on drafters and the marathon for underdog, which is total points, because we don't need him to hold up till the end of the year on total points. You just need him to give you 5 to 6 weeks, maybe. So yeah, I think he's a fine guy to mix in. I haven't gotten him as much on my high stakes drafts, and I'm afraid of that, right? Like that's something where like I want to have some Mostert going into the year. He's earned that. You Can't Read was a great article indeed. Appreciate you, Jordan. There's a lot of things I want to get up and running for the site, but something I want to prioritize is getting a audio released with the articles for the people who prefer not to read. So the team so far is Gibbs, Swift, Brian Robinson at running back. Honestly, 3 running backs who all could be top 15, right? Brian Robinson a little bit less likely, but it's in the range. Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Christian Watson, Keon Coleman. 6 wide receivers who I think are upside plays. David Njoku giving me a steady tight end. Even if he isn't quite what he was the year last year, he should be around 10 PPR points, which that's a top 10 fantasy tight end. I thought underdog was all playoff versus total points. I don't get it. Well, something you should do is you should read the rules of what you enter. So I can just tell you, if you're drafting in something called the marathon, that is total points. But this is why you should always read the rules of the contest you play. Most of their other contests, though, are playoff weeks. Read the rules. I mean, you joke, but like this is an edge every year, especially once they drop their playoff contests. Because like their real playoff contests. Trey Benson was by the way the guy I was considering. Don't really understand his drop, but in the playoff contest, sometimes 2 out of 6 advance, sometimes 1 out of 6 advances, and it like wildly changes things. And people just draft and don't understand which is what. Okay. Jared Goff to pair with Jahmyr Gibbs seems good. Gives me a safe floor and also some ceiling games. Not the biggest ceiling, but like Goff for this team. One of the last quarterbacks you feel pretty good about as well. And kind of protects my investment where like if I have hit the nuts at wideout, if I have hit some good players at running back, if I have hit tight end, I don't want to be losing first place because I decided to roll with, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, and Drake May, Sniped you there, says Corey Ruff. I don't know what team you are, but if you are the Monraw team, I mean, you were never getting back by me. Yeah, I really like the slide on Gus Edwards. To my knowledge, the only reason Gus Edwards is sliding is because he's not practicing right now, but he should be 100% for training camp. I have major doubts on J.K. Dobbins. Kamani Vidal, I think, offers upside, but he's a 6th round rookie selection. Many rookies fail, let alone a 6th round guy. And Gus is not quite a huge ceiling swing, but we know what he is. He's a red zone threat to punch in touchdowns. Did have a 30-point game last year. Maybe he can have more in a non Lamar Jackson offense. So quite like him as my 4th running back. You were team 11 looking for Goff. Who were you going to take Goff with? Oh, Jameson Williams. Well, you got him. Honestly, I prefer Trevor over Goff straight up. So Trevor is a better quarterback selection for you with Kirk, in my opinion. I would have taken Trevor instead of Goff, but I don't have any Jacksonville pieces. Quite like to get Gus when you see Chuba Hubbard selected within 6 picks of it. That means that I'm selecting at the end of the tier. In my opinion, that tier ends with Elliott and Edwards, and then pretty steep drop off. So I'm probably planning to go 3 QB and 3 tight end on this room. And that gives me 4 other picks to play with, which I think I'll just go 2 and 2. Yeah, I like this one as a 3-6-8-3, which is chalk good for 20 rounds. You can see top 10 teams invested roughly 2-6-9-3 in 2022. In 2023, it was 2.5, 6, 8.33. So we're pretty close to the chalk good. Are rookies less valuable in total points versus playoffs? Slightly, but I think that's overstated, right? Where if a rookie has a breakout year, even if it's only down the stretch for like 5 games, they're almost certainly going to be on the winning team if they're cheap. And some rookies are going to hit the ground running, you know? So Keon Coleman is a guy who I think you could say might be a little bit slow to start the year. Buffalo brings rookies slowly. There's legit NFL veterans alongside him. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? He could just hit the ground running and he's the best guy on the team. We really don't have a huge lean there. Yeah, and Neighbors is a guy who I think would hit the ground running because what is the alternative? Is Jalen Hyatt going to be target dominant over Neighbors just because he's a rookie? Of course not. Possible to win with one tight end? No, sir. Not to me. Wow. I mean, okay, let's do it and just Tua randomly will fall and I don't have any Miami pieces yet. Well, there's some late round guys with him and he's just going to be around 18 points. He's going to have a couple spikes. So I'll take the discount on him with not many stacking options late in the draft for me. Let's see why he fell. Tyreek drafter won Hurts, so that's part of the reason. Achane drafter has 3 quarterbacks already. And Waddle drafter went Mahomes. Jalen Wright was in consideration to pair with Tua. We're going to go Stafford as our 6th and last, or our 3rd and last quarterback to pair with Puka Nacua, obviously. So we got Goff, Tua, Stafford. Gibbs, Swift, Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Christian Watson, Keelan Coleman, David Njoku. It was hard for me to pass on a guy like Taysom Hill, honestly, because I do like Taysom Hill's upside. I like him as a second tight end in a 3 tight end room, but we just had to do it. If I knew Deshaun Watson would make it back to the 15th round to pair with Njoku, I would have passed. But other than that, it's like some of these guys will be hits, but I didn't feel like doing it this time. And even if we don't land a Miami stacking partner, which would be difficult not to, I could still win having Goff and Stafford stacked. How do you feel about Hawkinson as a second? Depends who my first is. But Hawkinson is a worse pick in total points, assuming he doesn't play until later in the year, right? In a playoff week 1, you could kind of carry that. In total points, it's tough for guys just to not be hitting your roster. I've not been drafting a lot of Hawkinson or Chubb or J.K. Dobbins. And that's just my, previous years, I would hunt upside at all costs. I would, even knowing it was risky, I would take Will Fuller, And I think that is not great to be risking your early entrance with such expensive zeros. So this year, I'm leaning more, it's July 1st right now. I have time to adjust and get Hawkinson and get Chubb and get J.K. Dobbins, even if they go up in price. But I don't want to risk all my entrance on guys who just don't seem that likely to bury me. Really need to nail a thin parlay of like health, etc., for me to really regret it. So that's how I'm playing it now. You auto drafted Jelani Woods? I quite like Jelani Woods as an upside swing. He made the cut in my article. Yeah, running back is just all the same now. So we're not going to be doing anything with that. Jonnu Smith, not enough of a tier break to risk not getting him to go with Tua. I quite like Jonnu as the likely third option in the passing game for the Dolphins. He's an upside play. He wins with yard after catch, which if Tyreek pulls coverage, Waddle pulls coverage, you chuck it down to Jonnu, an easy completion for Tua, and Jonnu rumbles for 40 yards. That's easy to see. So it's nice to get Jonnu there to pair with Tua. Luke McCaffrey, love him as an upside swing. 7th wide receiver. Guys, I forgot to do the giveaway, so let's do it now. Comment with your drafters username, and I'm going to choose the winner in 20 seconds by just highlighting the first name I see here. So comment with your drafters username. I'm going to select a name in 20 seconds. Just keep on writing it. Keep on writing it. Copy it and paste it. If you're kind of older, copy and paste it. Comment your drafters username. I'm choosing it in 20 seconds. 20, 19, 18. Going to count in my head for the rest. All right, we're doing the final 10-second countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Gavin, you win. Unreal 23. All right, Gavin. I'm going to message that over to drafters. You have won the free ticket today. If you misspelled your name, that's on you. Because I'm not doing a back and forth, but drafters will deposit that ticket for you. And we'll be doing giveaways on most drafters streams. See, this is what we like to hear. Congrats. Not you, son of a... all jokes. This literally, I counted down. I clicked this name, and then like 25 names populated. So it could have been any of you guys. But good job, Gavin. You're going to get a free entry courtesy of drafters. And if you're not up and running on drafters and you want to participate in these free giveaways and such, promo code Cheslium will get you a $100 deposit match. And if you like my free best ball streams, you like learning from a 3-time best ball champ, please do like and subscribe. $500K to first in their championship contest. For those of you who like smaller buy-in tournaments, they also often have a $2 one that runs. Looks like it filled recently, but I'm sure they'll offer another one shortly. Okay, so we're going to tack on a third tight end, one more wideout, and then 2 more running back darts. Really counting on the strength of Gibbs, Swift, Brian Robinson, and Gus Edwards. You know, is it possible Gus is a disappointment? Absolutely, right? He could be usurped by Kamani, J.K. Dobbins, what have you there. But if I have landed 4 likely starters, then I think 2 more is justifiable in stopping at 6. Really like getting Ben Sinnott here as a third tight end. Again, I think people are just kind of like scared of Zach Ertz, and you know, we're in the time of the year where there's minimal news, so what have you. And even if Ben Sinnott, by the way, physical freak, so the upside case is clear. Could be as high as the second target in the offense. He's just kind of falling in price due to boredom, lack of buzz. And me having McCaffrey and Sinnott has me 2 swings at landing the second target for Washington. Correlates with Brian Robinson. Just kind of betting that the Washington is fun for fantasy with Cliff Kingsbury and his pace-up offense. So I really like Sinnott. Even if Sinnott is a total 0, Njoku and Jonnu Smith might be enough to still win if I've nutted out at the other positions. Okay, we're going to go D'Onta Foreman here. I'm not taking a lot of Chubb, so by default, I have to be taking some Foreman. The hope is that Foreman is the goal line back for the Browns, a role that the Kareem Hunt scored 8 touchdowns in last year, where Jerome Ford didn't play much goal line, and still offers single week upside, 33 points, 17 points. He's been a glue guy on these top scoring teams in back-to-back years. D'Onta Foreman ran it like last year. Foreman was on 3 of the top 10 teams. And the year before, he was on 2 of the top 10 teams. So there's that. Like, he could literally not even make the team. He could just be a training camp casualty. But even if, let's just say he played the first 8 games and then he is inactive because Chubb returns, that can return value in total points in a way it won't for playoff weeks. Unreal, by the way, you should have your ticket. Drafters told me they added the ticket. Any way to get in these drafts with you? The best way would be to, 1, join my Discord. Link to join is below. I notify my Discord when I'm going live. And check out my subscribe to my YouTube and turn on the bell. The notification bell will notify you when I'm going live. And follow me on Twitter at Cheslium. And once I return from Ireland around the middle of July, I will work on, like, for the first time ever, having a streaming schedule where I will just kind of be like, this is the schedule for this week. Gavin's confirming he got his free ticket. Congrats, brother. Again, I'm going to have a drafters ranks over at beatbestball.com for the first time this week. I'm going to make those. And if you sign up with me, you get a free ticket in their $15 contest. So you can think of that as like 15% off, right? You pay $99, you get a free $15 ticket. So it's basically 15% rake back. And the contest is probably going to overlay roughly 10%. So pretty good value to be drafting on drafters. A schedule would be fire. We're going to do it, Jordan. We're going to have it. July and August. Those are the schedule months. Middle of July. Has anyone ever said you look like Josh Allen? I do get that sometimes. I get Brock Purdy occasionally. When I have a mustache, usually is when I get the Josh Allen. Malik Washington would have been a candidate to be selected by me, having Tua. I used to get Michael Sarah. Marty McFly. That's thank you, brother. That's the one I was going for. All right, let's lower this. Let's lower this standing desk. Leonardo DiCaprio. Appreciate you, BP. Okay, one more RB, one more wideout. Got 2 wide receivers that correlate here, Khalif and Odell. I think both offer upside. Both made the cut for my article. I'm going to go with Khalif today, though. We've already kind of made a bet on the third option of the Dolphins, and we're hoping it's Jonnu. So Khalif is my last wide receiver. It's kind of capped as like the 5th target of the Lions. But if injuries happen, that could go higher. No comment here, but we will highlight it. If running back is that bad and Odell is still there, I could even justify tacking on another wide receiver. Let's see. Can we dumpster dive some upside? I think we can. We're going to do it with... screw it. We're not going to do it today. Today we're just going to take the extra wide out. There is one guy there who I think is justifiable. but we're correlating both our last round selections, something we like to do. This is also an easier way for you to not miss any Puka Nakuas of the world. Obviously, really Raymond and Odell don't really fit that bill, but you get my point. So we're ending with Goff, Tua, Stafford. Not the hugest upside swings at QB, but all are capable of having a 30-point game. All three are correlated. Jahmyr Gibbs, Swift, Brian Robinson, Gus Edwards, Deontay Foreman. Really putting a stress on this group of 5 to produce by only selecting 5. Need Gibbs to be a top 5 back. Need Swift to be around a top 10 back. Need Brian Robinson to score 6+ touchdowns, probably closer to 8. Need Gus to punch in 8 to 10 touchdowns, and need Foreman to give me 5 usable weeks, 4 usable weeks, something like that. Only have 2 overlapping buys. That played in my decision a little bit there. 2 of these running backs also profile as pass catchers, Gibbs and Swift, which helps on a PPR site. Just hitting a bit of floor, where like a Rachaad White last year is a guy who was on a lot of the top scoring teams, but did not have any massive ceiling games. So you can get away with just a consistent RB2. Puka Nacua, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins, Xavier Worthy, Christian Watson, Keelan Coleman, Luke McCaffrey, Cleve Raymond, Odell. No complaints on this wide receiver room. Need some rookies to hit. Got some veterans that correlate with my quarterbacks as well to kind of give the rookies some time if they need it. And then David Njoku, Jonnu Smith, and Ben Sinnott, a perfectly fine tight end room. Certainly have not drafted the number 1 tight end. I guess I can't say that though, because Ben Sinnott, why can't he be Sam Laporta? It's not likely, but you get my point. But yeah, should be a tight end room that's perfectly fine. The only real question here is, was 9 wide receivers necessary over 6 running backs? If there was a running back, you can note that after Odell, no running backs went, which is kind of a, there is one guy there who I regularly draft, but you get my point. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say 99% gentlemen, appreciate you being here. Please do like and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow with another stream. Keep posted in my Discord and Twitter. Gonna release my article later today after I get a bite to eat. And again, you can check out beatbestball.com for all my rankings and articles. And have a great day. Peace out.